away. Refresh and renew yourself, your body, your mind, and your spirit. Then get back to work. A healthy outside starts from the inside. It is health that is real wealth and not silver and gold. This is ACE TV, the first campus TV station in Nigeria, and you are on Health Talk, a platform where you get to know more about yourself. Hi, I'm Amos Grace Temitope from the Department of English 400 level. It is my pleasure to welcome you all. I can't do this alone, knowing fully well I'm not a doctor, but I have a guest there, a man of power and integrity, a mentor, a father, and a doctor. Please, sir, can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Dr. Adekunle Ekundayo Gumosin, Director of Medical Services at the MCO of Education, Ondo.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
Today, he will enlighten us more on malaria. Sir, please, can you please tell us what is malaria?
Malaria is formed from two words, mal and area. Area means air. Mal means bad. Because initially it was believed that malaria came from the swampy air that was coming. So people imagined that it was that air that was causing it. But really, malaria is it's a parasitic infection that is caused by the bite of a mosquito. And then it causes several symptoms that I'm sure we'll be able to go into further later.
Thank you, sir. Please, sir, I wanted to ask, maybe malaria is present in Nigeria. There is no malaria in Nigeria. I don't know.
Malaria is not only present in Nigeria, malaria is endemic in Nigeria. Wow. What that means is malaria is always with us. All year round we have malaria. At some times it may increase in the number of people having it, at other times it may decrease, but at all times throughout the year we have malaria in Nigeria. So definitely there is malaria in Nigeria.
If I may ask also, when you say malaria is present in Nigeria, can you please tell us the causes? As in, what causes malaria?
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, the basic cause is a parasitic infection from a mosquito bite. Really, it is the female Anopheles mosquito. The mosquitoes need blood to be able to reproduce. So they go out to bite human beings to get that blood so that they can reproduce themselves.
But why can't they bite each other?
Well, they cannot bite each other because they don't have blood, as it were. They need blood, animal or human blood. But the problem with animal blood is most of the animals have feathers or furs covering their skin, so it's not easily accessible like the human skin. That exactly.
Thank you, sir. I may also want to know that what are the symptoms when you have malaria? What are the symptoms that are present?
Well, it is said that malaria is a mimic. It looks like so many things. So that when somebody has malaria, it can look like so many other diseases. So many times, other diseases are misdiagnosed as malaria. So let us start from there. Okay, so the symptoms are usually fever, headache, body pains, cold. Sometimes the person is shaking, and then there can be cough, catarrh, there can be abdominal pains, there can be muscular pains, and then there is of course weakness. The person is unable to eat so well, is unable to sleep well. So it has a wide range of symptoms, and it can look like so many other diseases.
Thank you, sir. Please, sir, permit me to ask again. I'm sorry. Is there any maybe time that we have between mosquito bite and the symptoms? Maybe there is time range. Maybe mosquito bites me today, and maybe the symptoms will come tomorrow. I wanted to know.
No, okay, it's what is called something like a latent period. So if you have a mosquito bite today and the parasite is injected into your body, it will take about 2 to 7 days for the symptoms to manifest. And of course, that depends on a lot of things. Your level of immunity. If you have been having malaria before, you'd have built up a level of immunity, so it will take a longer time. If you have never had malaria before, your immunity will be relatively low, and then it will take a shorter time.
Thank you very much. And I want to ask, is there any specific blood group? Maybe we have the O plus, the O minus, I don't know, the AB plus, the AB negative, and so on like that. Is there any one that is so, as in specific blood group that is so immune? I don't know how to put it.
Okay. It's not the blood groups that are actually immune, it's the genotypes. The S genotype that causes the sickle cell disease is an attempt at protecting us against malaria. So usually people who are AS are relatively immune to malaria than people who are AA. Of course, people who are SS are already sicklers and they have a whole lot of other problems. But the S gene in SS or AS is supposed to give us relative protection against malaria, not the blood groups, it's the genotypes.
Thank you, sir. Please, can I ask again that can a newborn baby has malaria too?
Yes, it is possible, but it is not very likely, and I will explain that. Usually, when a mosquito gets into a room, it follows let me say, the air concentration of oxygen versus carbon dioxide. When you breathe in oxygen and you breathe out carbon dioxide. So the mosquito follows that carbon dioxide to find where the human beings are. Okay. Usually the level of breathing of a child is much smaller than the other people who are in the room. So the others are more likely to attract the mosquito than the baby. But the truth of the matter is, if a mosquito bites a baby, that baby can have malaria, definitely.
And I want to ask again, since mosquitoes, they are the carrier of malaria, do they also get sick? Like when they have not injected it into the human body, can they also get sick?
Well, mosquitoes cannot have malaria. They may have other diseases that I'm not aware of because I'm not a specialist in that area, but mosquitoes cannot get malaria.
All right, sir.
The malaria only has some developmental stages within the mosquito before it gets reinjected into another person.
You said, I may recall that you said the female mosquito, they are the...
Yes, it's the female Anopheles mosquito.
Okay.
Yes, that causes...
What about the male?
The male can also bite people, but it cannot transmit malaria. Yes.
All right. So I wanted to ask you, as a student, we are exposed to a lot of these mosquitoes and this malaria everything. Do malaria affect the brain?
Yes, in fact, there is something that we call cerebral malaria, malaria of the brain. But usually it is commoner in people who are less immune to malaria, who have not been exposed to malaria frequently in the past. Usually children, and usually foreigners who are coming into an endemic zone like Nigeria for the first time. In actual fact, cerebral malaria is potentially fatal. It can kill. Good. So it is people who have a relatively low level of immunity that are more likely to have cerebral malaria. Yes, so it can affect the brain, definitely.
Anyway, thank you very much, sir. God bless you. How can malaria be prevented?
The prevention of malaria is in different stages. The first stage is you want to prevent mosquito bites, and for that, because mosquitoes breed in stagnant water and then in vegetation around the house, so you want to clear the bushes around the house. You want to discard any containers that may harbor stagnant water. You want to cover your water well, as in if you have a tank or something, you want to cover it so that the mosquitoes will not have access to go and breed in it. And then you may need to spray your environment with insecticide to kill off the mosquitoes. And then you want to put nettings on your window so that even if there are mosquitoes outside, they are unable to get inside. And then you want to put nettings on your door too. And of course, there is insecticide treated mosquito nets that you can use indoors. So those ones will prevent mosquito bites. For drugs that can be used, there are some drugs that can be used to prevent malaria. However, they are not advised in endemic areas like Nigeria because malaria is always with us. So preventing it may not be as effective except in some special people that you may want to prevent it for a period of time. For example, in pregnant women, you don't want them to come down with malaria because that will lower their blood level and affect the outcome of that pregnancy. Then Yeah, like for example, you have an exam in a month or two, you may want to take drugs for that period so that you don't break down during that period. So there are some drugs that you can use for that purpose too.
Concerning the mosquito net you mentioned, you know, some people do say it. I don't like sleeping on mosquito net. Oh. It always have this itching a bit. There is it inside. I don't know what advice or I don't know what can you say about it.
Well, it is true that okay, if you're under the net, it may be stuffy or it may be hot. The itchiness may actually be that the person is reacting to the chemical that is used to treat the net, or that sometimes you may need to put out the net in open air for like a day to be able to get rid of some of the fumes that are on it before you start using it. But sometimes you need to measure the benefits against the cost of doing something. So if you don't use the net and you are beaten and you come down with malaria, is that more convenient than the stuffiness or whatever? And so you just have to weigh the two and decide which one is more convenient for you.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Before our times enter, I want to ask that what measure can we do to prevent malaria, sir?
We already talked about prevention with treatment and all that before.
And what are the impacts of malaria on our society, sir?
Okay, the impact of malaria is so wide because malaria is common endemic in this area. Like I said initially, when somebody comes down with malaria, is unable to go to work. So there are a lot of people who are unable to go to work because they have malaria. Then the cost of treating themselves would have to come out of their pocket most of the time. So you have not budgeted for malaria. Malaria has come and you must treat it. And then for children, in actual fact, for under 5 deaths, malaria is, I believe, the leading cause of death in children under 5 in malaria endemic zone. So it causes a lot of death, it causes a lot of people not to go to work, it has a lot of economic cost because if you are treating malaria, that money cannot be used for some other things. So the impact on the society is very maximum.
You know, in Adeyemi now, as an example, in the hostels, we have some hostels, they have this mosquito net, there is net on their window, but at times, you know, open doors, there are lots of people in the room and they will open their doors down. There is no prevention to that. Please, what can you say maybe to advise them on how to prevent it?
Okay, I didn't mention, okay, I mentioned insecticide outside and insecticide treated net. You can also spray your room periodically depending on your ability. If the door is open most of the time, then that may have to be done maybe daily or every other day. If there is netting on the window and maybe the door, you may do it like once or twice a week, depending on how frequently you notice that mosquitoes have come in. So for a hostel setting, clearing the bushes, the other things I mentioned before may be useful. But if the door is kept open most of the time, spraying the room periodically would be a good alternative.
Well, you know that insecticide is at time very harmful to our health. So I don't know, maybe there is maybe another, I don't know, but you know insecticide at times is very, very harmful to our health. Yeah. So maybe the time meaning, I mean the times, the spacious, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you spray your room, yes, the spacing, maybe 7 o'clock you spray it, you must enter the room by 9. And you know there are some roommates that are so stubborn that if you say you want to spray, they say, no, me, I want to cook, oh, I want to sleep, oh, I want to rest, oh, I don't know.
You're not supposed to cook in the room. There is a kitchenette for that purpose. But ideally, if you are going to spray a room with insecticide, you should not be in the room for about 30 minutes to 1 hour so that the insecticide would have dissipated. And then when you come back, if there is netting on the window, you may want to open the window so that the remaining insecticide can go out, and then the air will be safe for breathing.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks very, very much. God bless you. I believe you guys have really, really enjoyed this program. And to our guest speaker once again, I say thanks very much and God bless you for a job well done. I don't know how to thank. And don't forget to join me too again next week, same station.